I was an extra in the James Bond film Goldeneye, 1995, as a soldier. Hello Reddit, my name is Gary Raleigh. I live in London and currently work as a manager in a furniture store. Before all that, I took a small career into acting, since it was a dream for me when I was young and gullible. I have only took acting as an extra in 2 movies though, which were Tom and Viv and of course Goldeneye. The only scenes however I filmed in the movie were the chemical plant and the archives as a Soviet soldier attempting to eliminate the protagonist. My son who watches the Bond movies wanted me to make this, so I can give my input, since I already told him everything about filming in the famous movie, but he now wishes for me to answer anything you all might have. So lay it on me lads. What was the pay like? So for the 2 or 3 days of filming on the gunfight in the interior of the chemical plant I made around £150, and filming at the archives came to £200, since it took much longer to shoot there than the chemical plant as that had more stunts and blanks to be fired as well as your close-ups. ISO pound to American translator. This man got around $600-700 for 2 days of work, said one was 16 hours. Gonna assume 24 to 28 hours total for ESP's math. $25-30 an hour 20 plus years ago. Those estimates are rougher than Gordon Ramsay's edges, but you get the point. Edit. Shit. Adjusted for current inflation, not 2-decade-old inflation. Fuck it. Leaving this here. Pounds sterling. Across the pond they pay people in actual lumps of silver, and apparently Op was worth his weight. Favorite Bond movie and actor? Did you meet Pierce? Wow, that was fast. My favorite Bond I have to say, which surprises some, is Timothy Dalton, since I felt his personality is more drawn to Bond's personality in the books. Favorite Bond movie though would be The Spy Who Loved Me, because of the large set pieces, action pieces, and of course Jaws. He's the bloody best. As for ever meeting Pierce in person, I have not, since he was always so in tune and intertwined with Martin and the choreographers, and while a few cheeky extras did try to go up and talk to him, he was still humble and approachable, but was always too busy to have a conversation longer than 60 seconds. Thanks for answering. License to Kill is so underrated emo. So violent for Bond, which I like. True that. Dalton was ahead of his time. After More the producers wanted someone a little less serious, and Pierce was perfect, but he was contracted to something else. Dalton's License to Kill was a phenomenal film and has aged very well, and his Bond reminds me a lot Craig's Bond. Were any of the soldiers in the N64 game modeled after you? I've never played the game, so I have to say no. I'm surprised you never played. Goldeneye 64 is a cult classic. Literally in the top 10 best games ever in many gamers list. Pretty badass. You got a scene in movie though. I wouldn't call it a cult classic. It was a blockbuster mainstream hit. Everyone played Goldeneye in my school, including people who weren't that into video games. Generational gap. Cult classic to Gen Z whose N64s are novelties. First console shooter for millennials. In the opening scene of Goldeneye, a man is seen reading a newspaper that says 1995 on it, even though the movie took place in 1986. I certainly hope someone got fired for that blunder. That happened in the movie. I gotta look out for that now. I never noticed that. The lot of the Russians wore the wrong uniforms. How many clips did you film? If I can remember 20 years ago how filming went, we filmed about over 20 different clips of angles the cinematographers felt would be the best in the scene at the gas tanks. It lasted about 2 days filming there, with longest day being 16 hours. Each time they have these shots go, they would sometimes even rearrange us in different spots trying to get the best shot. Wow, did you enjoy the filming process? At times it could get real boring. A lot of sitting around and waiting can happen, while rehearsals can also take a majority of time, even deciding who gets the blank guns and who gets the rubber guns. I always wanted the rubber gun cause that meant you would get shot and would have to die on screen, which means a chance of getting to see it on film. I got one of those scenes on film in the archives portion. I don't follow. Extras with blank guns don't get shot. They usually don't, because you can't have an extra get shot up and throw a 800-pound gun on the floor through like 3 or 4 takes. I don't know how most blank guns were made, but these I know can be a little fragile, so the prop department made sure that all the acts would take little damage as possible. Even after cutting a scene, the prop department lads would take all the blank guns from the extras, dismantle them and clean them, and even load the blanks themselves. They did a good job making it look like that all the guns were being fired with full auto though in the movie, cause in reality the clips were only loaded with like 3 or 4 blanks and we were told to shoot at an interval to make it look like it was going off in an automatic fashion. Only person that got to fire off the guns in full auto with about 20 blanks in the clip was of course the main actor. Probably for weapon safety. Hollywood keeps things wired tight when it comes to functioning weapons on set. What was your family's reaction when you first told them you were going to be in a Bond film? My mum first asked me if I was gonna be the main villain, which I told her no, but I would technically be one of the bad guys, and I promised her she will see me at least once. She didn't like it when my character got shot up though. Besides that, my father practically told everyone at his workplace and went on about it for weeks. I met my wife in '97 and had a child that same year, but my son didn't first see the movie until like 2009, and we watch the movie at least once a year now as a family. I love this. Thank you so much. I always wanted to be in a Bond film, regardless of which side. Let's be real though, the bad guys were for the most part pretty cool. Why are y'all's aim so bad? If we killed the main actor in the first minutes of the movie, you would be shelled out of your movie and be taking a piss. So basically what I'm doing now. Got it. Did your character survive his Bond encounter? So funny thing is that my character was killed, resurrected, and killed again in the archives. The first one he was killed when all those barrels came crashing down and promptly the building exploding later in the scene. The barrels that fell were made of rubber, by the way. My son always thought it was real metal and they just had stuntmen at the bottom. And in the archives I was the soldier on the right that Bond shoots at below on the second jump take from the first salvo of rounds he fires at the previous troops. I was gonna ask what the barrels were made of. I thought maybe a thin aluminium, so they wouldn't be too heavy. Now I know the truth. Hi Gary, may I get your autograph, please? You won't want my autograph. My name ain't even worth the ink. Don't sell yourself short. What was it like on set on Goldeneye? Was it like a normal workplace with water cooler talk? And could you somehow show yourself in one of the clips? The moments when we had to pay attention to what we had to do in order not to spoil the shot was when we had to buckle down and listen to what the director, stunt choreographer wanted us to do. Besides that, when we had to wait for them to set the scene up, a lot of guys would indeed go out the back of the studio outside to take smoke and tea breaks and indeed have talks over random stuff. It was very professional work, but also relaxed to work around an action movie. I really enjoyed it, and if I find myself in the scene, which won't be too hard, I'll throw it in the Reddit. Confirmed dad. Sound awesome. And also, when was the filming done, and was smoking still common then? So I wouldn't be able to exactly pinpoint the dates of each segment of film, but when filming movies they usually don't go chronological. Could be like we are gonna film the second shot of the hallway in the archives, and then the next day we are gonna go next door to shoot the dialogue between scene and Pierce on the train set, while the production crew for the archive set with some more fake glass on those offices for the next day's shoot. Something was always being done if filming wasn't going on, and most of the time we were specifically given dates on when to arrive for filming, unless if they postpone or your worst case cancel it. I forgot to mention that most of the filming was done in this old factory which they converted into a studio. I thought it was really impressive. And smoking was indeed still common at that time. Production staff and extras all often got together out back during breaks to chat about their lives, how they felt the scene was going, their favorite part, or complaining that they want to go home after 15 hours of work. Wow, huge Goldeneye fan. I would rent it on VHS as a child and watch it twice in a row. It would piss my grandmother off. What did you think your wardrobe? Do you remember the specific style of cap you had on? And the question I always ask extras, did you take any props lol? Good question there. I was afraid that the uniforms might be a bit cheap, but they actually turned out to be too good. I don't know how they tailored them, but I remembered sending in my measuring sizes so I can get my uniform day one. It was made of a mix of cotton and wool though, and all of them were long sleeve, so it can get hot. But when I go outside it would be really cold outside, so that was when I really appreciated the material. I don't know if all the chevrons or webbings were accurate, but I looked like a Russian for sure. Specific style of cap. I didn't wear like the bus driver cap, but more like a side cap. As for props, as tempting as it was along with others taking some small things like the hammer and sickle badge on the cap, I was too afraid to do so cause I didn't want to get caught and get kicked out of filming. How hot was Natalia in real life? So I didn't see the next Bond girl for the first time until I went to the archive set for filming. I have to say, when I did see her, I didn't think she wasn't Ursula Andress wow, but she was still gorgeous. During breaks, we all took time to talk about it cause this for some of us was our first time of seeing what the Bond girl looks like.